If you don't control your mind, something else will. That's not just a quote. It's the raw truth that most people ignore every single day. Your mind is the engine behind every decision you make, every emotion you feel, every habit you build, and every result you experience in your life. But here's the harsh reality. Most people never learn how to control it. They let their minds wander aimlessly. They let thoughts spiral into overthinking. They hesitate when they should act. They panic when they should stay calm. They get stuck in mental loops that drain their energy and rob them of progress. Then they wonder why they feel tired, unmotivated, and trapped in the same cycle. This audiobook isn't about shallow motivation that fires you up for 5 minutes and fades. It's about teaching you how to take charge of your mind, step by step, choice by choice. It's about learning to stop overthinking, control your reactions, stay calm under pressure, and replace weak thoughts with strong ones. This isn't theory. This is mindset training that transforms lives. If you're serious about turning your life around, the first step is simple. Take control of what happens inside your head. So listen carefully, because this one shift could change everything. Every day you wake up with thousands of thoughts flooding your mind. Some are useful. Some are toxic. Most are just noise. But here's the truth. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought should have power over you. And if you're not careful, you'll give space in your mind to the exact thoughts that keep you small. Most people never stop to think about their thinking. They don't filter. They don't choose. They treat every thought as truth. If a negative idea shows up, they believe it. If an old regret replays, they let it ruin their mood. If fear whispers in their ear, they take it as a command. That's where the damage starts. When you treat every thought as fact, you hand control of your life to something unstable. You let random mental chatter drive your choices, your actions, your entire identity. You need to learn one skill, the skill of deciding. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. Every thought that enters is not a command. Every thought is not reality. Your job is to ask one powerful question. Does this thought deserve space in my head? If you let every worry, every fear, every excuse, and every doubt stay, don't be surprised when you feel stuck, overwhelmed, and exhausted. Thoughts create momentum, forward or backward. Weak thoughts pull you down. Strong thoughts push you forward. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is fine. It's about taking responsibility for what you allow in your mental space. You wouldn't let a stranger walk into your home and destroy it. So why do you let random, destructive thoughts walk into your mind and stay? Start paying attention. The moment a thought appears, watch how it makes you feel. If it leaves you weak, hopeless, ashamed, or afraid, question it. Where did it come from? Is it true? Is it helping you become who you want to be? If not, let it go. Because thoughts shape actions. Actions shape habits. And habits shape your future. If you keep thinking you're not good enough, you'll start acting like it. If you keep thinking failure is inevitable, you'll stop trying. If you keep thinking the past defines you, you'll stay stuck in it. But here's the good news. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides what stays and what goes. You are the gatekeeper. Once you accept that, you stop reacting and start choosing. And when you start choosing, your entire life changes. Begin your mornings with clarity. Don't roll out of bed and immediately check your phone. That's opening the door to distraction before you've even chosen your own thoughts. Instead, sit quietly, even just 5 minutes, and ask yourself, what kind of thoughts do I want to carry today? Choose them, set them, anchor them. When the noise of the day comes, and it will, you'll already know what belongs in your mind and what doesn't. Doubt will show up, but you'll recognize it. Fear will whisper, but you'll reject it. Someone might upset you, but you'll remain calm because you've already decided. They don't get to control your mind. This isn't a quick fix. It's not a one-week trick. It's a lifelong practice. You'll slip sometimes. You'll forget. You'll fall back into old patterns. That's okay. What matters is that you keep returning to this standard. Only the thoughts that serve me are allowed to stay. Most people feel anxious, overwhelmed, and mentally exhausted not because life is unbearable, but because they've never cleaned up their minds. They've never questioned their thoughts. They've been carrying pain, old beliefs, and useless stories for years. Their mental space is cluttered. But you don't need more motivation. You don't need another book or podcast. You need to clear the space for clarity. Clarity comes only when you remove what doesn't belong. Start small. Catch one thought today that usually slips by unnoticed. Maybe it's the voice that tells you to procrastinate. Maybe it's the whisper that says you're not capable. Maybe it's the replay of an old mistake. When you notice it, stop. Interrupt it. Tell yourself, that doesn't belong here. At first, it'll feel uncomfortable. But with practice, that pause becomes your power. You stop living on autopilot. You stop letting your brain run wild. You start driving it where you want to go. And once you taste that feeling of choosing your own thoughts, you'll never want to go back. Because for the first time, you'll feel free. Not free from problems, but free from mental chains. Not free from struggle, but free from unnecessary suffering. People always ask, how do I feel better? That's the wrong question. The real question is, how do I think better? Because your feelings follow your thoughts, and your actions follow your feelings. If you want better results, start with better thoughts. So here's the standard. Keep only the thoughts that build you. Keep only the thoughts that make you stronger, calmer, and clearer. Everything else, let it go. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your deadliest trap. The choice is yours. And that choice begins with one question. If not, don't give it another second. Replace it with something stronger, sharper, and more aligned with who you're becoming. Because once you learn to decide what thoughts stay and what thoughts go, you stop being controlled by your mind. You start controlling it. And that's the beginning of real change. Your mind is powerful, but here's the truth. It doesn't always tell you the truth. Some of the most dangerous lies you'll ever face won't come from other people. They'll come from your own thoughts. That's why one of the most important skills you can ever build is learning how to catch yourself the very moment your mind starts lying to you. And it will lie. Quietly. Subtly. Without warning. You'll think it's just another random thought. But it's not. It's a seed. A whisper. A script meant to lower your belief in yourself. It'll say things like, you're not good enough. You always mess this up. No one really cares what you do. It's too late for you. And the most dangerous part? Those lies don't come from the outside. They come from the inside. They come dressed in your own voice. That's why they're so easy to believe. Most people never question them. They hear the lie, accept it as fact, and live by it. Over time, those lies become their reality. Not because they were true, but because no one stopped to challenge them. If you want to take control of your mind, you have to develop awareness. You have to build the habit of watching your thoughts like a guardian, with clear eyes and sharp attention. The moment a thought shows up that feels heavy, hopeless, or harsh, pause. That's your signal. That's the red flag that your mind is slipping into deception. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, draining your energy, or pushing you toward fear, doubt, or regret, you must confront it. Because the longer you let it stay, the more damage it does. Think about it like this: your mind runs in patterns. And if you've lived for years repeating patterns of doubt, guilt, or fear, your mind will return to those patterns automatically, even when you're trying to grow. That's why catching the lie early is everything. If you don't, it multiplies, spreads, takes over your focus, and poisons your confidence. Before you know it, you're shrinking back from opportunities, sabotaging yourself, or staying stuck in the same place. All because you believed a thought that wasn't even true. Here's something you need to remember. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born with the belief that you're not enough. Those thoughts came later. They were built through comparison, criticism, mistakes, and pain. But just because they've been with you for years doesn't mean they belong to you. You don't owe loyalty to a voice that weakens you. You owe yourself loyalty to the truth. And the truth is this: you've already survived more than your mind gives you credit for. You've already proven strength that your lies try to deny. So start watching your inner language. Not just the obvious thoughts, but the background noise. The quiet whispers that show up when you're tired, stressed, or disappointed. That's when the lies sneak in. They don't always shout. Sometimes they whisper. And if you're not fully awake, you'll believe them before you even notice they've arrived. You have to interrupt them. You have to speak back. Not with panic. Not with desperation. With strength. When your mind says, "You can't handle this," you say, "I've handled worse." When it says, "They're better than you," you say, "I'm not here to compete. I'm here to grow." When it says, "You'll never change," you say, "I already am, right now." This isn't about fake positivity. This isn't about plastering over pain with empty affirmations. This is about returning to what's real. Because lies distort your perspective. They tell you your worst days define your whole life. They convince you your mistakes erase your progress. They make you forget your courage. But the truth is always stronger if you're willing to see it. Every time your mind gives you a message, you have a choice. You can accept it. You can reject it. You can follow it. You can fight it. But here's the trap. If you don't choose at all, your mind will choose for you. And untrained, it almost never chooses the stronger path. That's why mental discipline is training. It's the practice of catching the lie faster. It's the skill of refusing to follow every thought that shows up. It's the decision to protect your inner space like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. You don't have to listen to the voice that criticizes you when no one's watching. You don't have to agree with the thought that says you're not ready, not worthy, or not enough. That voice isn't your truth. It's your past. And it doesn't deserve the microphone anymore. Remember this, your mind responds to repetition. If you want to weaken the lies, stop repeating them. Stop saying, "I always fail." Stop saying, "I'm broken." Stop saying, "I'm not capable." Those are not facts. They're habits. And habits can be broken. Instead, build new ones. Speak truth that strengthens you. Say, "I'm learning. I'm getting stronger. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I choose how I think." These aren't just words. They're foundations. And over time, they reshape your mental environment into one that supports you instead of sabotages you. Of course, the old thoughts will try to come back. They'll show up when you're rejected, when you fail, when you feel alone. That's when you need to stand your ground the most. That's when you look the thought in the face and say, "Not this time. I've heard this lie before, and I'm not falling for it again." That's freedom. Not the absence of negative thoughts, but the awareness that they're not commands. Not perfection, but the practice of choosing truth over lies. And the more you practice it, the more powerful you become. You'll start noticing patterns. You'll see how often your mood rises and falls based on what you believe. You'll finally understand just how much your mindset drives your actions. And when you see that, you'll stop giving lies the power to shape your life. Here's the truth. Your life doesn't change when circumstances change. It changes when your thoughts change. But thoughts don't change by accident. You have to take control. You have to catch the lie before it grows. You have to stop feeding it with belief and start replacing it with strength. So, starting today, commit to one practice. Catch one lie a day. That's it. Just one. When your mind says, "I can't," stop. Challenge it. Replace it. When it says, "It's too late," stop. Replace it. When it says, "I'll never change," stop. Replace it. Each time you do, you weaken the grip of that thought. Each time you do, you train your mind to stop running on autopilot. Each time you do, you build awareness, consistency, and strength from the inside out. And soon enough, your mind will realize its old tricks don't work anymore. Because you've caught the lies. You've rejected them. And you've replaced them with truth. That's what real mental freedom looks like. That's how you stop being dragged by your thoughts and start leading them. So ask yourself right now, what lies have I been believing? And then make the decision that today they lose their power. Most people don't fail because they're not smart enough. They don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they hesitate. They wait too long. They overthink. They talk themselves out of action. And by the time they finally build up the courage to move, the moment has passed, and their brain has already convinced them to stop. Here's the truth. Your brain is fast when it comes to fear. Lightning fast. Can generate excuses, doubts, and reasons to quit in seconds. If you don't move quickly, those excuses will win. Think about it. You've had moments where you felt inspired, moments where you thought, I should start this project, or I should make that call, or I should get up and go to the gym. And then you paused. You gave yourself time to think about it. Within seconds, the fear arrived. It's too late. You're too tired. You don't know enough yet. Someone else is already doing it better. And just like that, the moment disappeared. You stayed stuck. That's not because you didn't know what to do. It's because you let your brain talk you out of doing it. Your brain's job is to protect you, but it often does that by avoiding anything uncomfortable. And here's the truth. Growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Risk is uncomfortable. So when you decide to grow, your brain sounds the alarm. It tries to keep you safe by whispering, don't do it. It's risky. You might fail. What if you look stupid? And if you pause for too long, you'll start to agree. That's why you have to act before your brain takes over. Not recklessly, not without thought, but without delay. Because the longer you wait, the louder fear gets. If you let fear drive your choices, your life gets smaller. Your routines shrink. Your opportunities pass. You start avoiding life instead of engaging with it. And the scary part is, you don't even notice it happening. You just look back months or years later and wonder why nothing has changed. You need to understand how quickly your mind can turn a good decision into self-doubt. You say you'll go to the gym. Your brain says, it's late. You're tired. One day off won't hurt. You plan to speak up in a meeting. Your brain says, don't. You might embarrass yourself. You want to start a side business. Your brain says, you don't know enough yet. Someone else already has a head start. That's how fast it works. That's how fast your mind can sabotage your future. But when you move before fear takes over, you cut the pattern. You stop the spiral before it multiplies. You prove to yourself that you can lead your brain instead of being led by it. This is why action is powerful. Action resets your focus. Action pulls you out of the mental storm and back into reality. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Most people wait for confidence before they act. They think, I'll do it when I feel ready. But confidence doesn't come first. Confidence comes after. You don't wait for it, you earn it by moving. Think about how many opportunities you've missed, not because you weren't capable, but because you hesitated. You let the thought sit too long. It went from exciting to intimidating, from simple to overwhelming. And all of it happened in your head. That's why you have to stop waiting for the perfect time. The timing will never feel perfect. There will always be a reason to delay. The only way to break the cycle is to act now. Even small action matters. Write the first line. Make the first call. Do the first rep. Take the first step. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be fast. Because once you move, momentum builds. And momentum is stronger than motivation. The people who succeed fastest aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who act the most. They don't waste weeks planning. They don't wait to feel ready. They act, then figure it out as they go. Here's a rule you can live by. When you feel a spark, move within the first 5 minutes. Write it down. Take the first step. Make the call. Whatever it is, act while the energy is fresh. Because if you wait, your brain will drain that energy and turn it into fear. This isn't about being impulsive. It's about beating hesitation. It's about catching that small window before your mind starts building excuses. You can practice this in daily life. When your alarm rings, get up without a debate. When you think of calling someone you've been avoiding, call before you change your mind. When you want to work out, start moving before your brain says, not today. Every time you act fast, you train your brain. You teach it that hesitation doesn't control you anymore. And each time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. That trust turns into confidence. That confidence turns into discipline. And that discipline turns into results. Don't underestimate this. Most people never build that trust with themselves. They say they'll do something, but their brain talks them out of it. Over time, they stop believing in their own words. Their self-respect crumbles. But when you act before hesitation wins, you rebuild that respect. You prove to yourself, when I say I'll do it, I will. And that changes everything. Think about it. How different would your life look if you stopped overthinking and started following through? How much progress could you make in 30 days if you just acted on what you already know you should do? How much stronger would you feel if you trusted your decisions enough to act without delay? This isn't about rushing. It's not about doing everything recklessly. It's about not freezing. It's about catching that small window of energy and using it before fear drains it. That window is short. But if you train yourself to notice it and act on it, you'll start breaking patterns that have held you back for years. You have more strength than you think. But you'll never feel it until you start using it. And the only way to use because that one decision, to act before fear takes over, can shift your confidence, your momentum, and your entire future. Your life won't change with perfect plans. It'll change with bold action. And the next time your brain whispers, wait, you answer back with movement. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Most people don't realize how much of their life is being dictated by something as fragile as their mood. They wake up tired, and so they drag through the day. They feel irritated, and so they avoid conversations. They feel unmotivated, and so they skip their goals. They feel down, and so they stop trying. Without even noticing, they hand the steering wheel of their life to whatever emotion shows up first. But here's the truth. If you let your mood decide your actions, your life will always be unstable. Productive one day, distracted the next. Focused in the morning, careless at night. Excited for a week, then quitting the next. That's no way to build strength. That's no way to build a life. If you want to grow into someone who's steady, disciplined, and respected, you have to stop letting your mood control your next move. Because here's the reality. Your mood will lie to you. Your mood will shift. And your mood cannot be trusted to lead your life. There will be days you don't feel like doing anything. That doesn't mean you do nothing. There will be days you don't feel motivated. That doesn't mean you give up. There will be days your mood tells you to quit, hide, or back down. That doesn't mean you listen. Your feelings are real, but they are not the leader. If you build your life around them, you'll always be reactive. You'll always be waiting for the perfect mood before you take the right step. And let's be honest, that mood rarely shows up. The strongest people aren't the ones who feel motivated all the time. They're the ones who act whether they feel motivated or not. They're the ones who refuse to let temporary emotion override permanent values. That's discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when your mood says no. Discipline is showing up to your commitments, even when you feel flat. Discipline is pushing through effort, even when your feelings scream for comfort. And here's the truth. Your future doesn't care about your mood. Your goals don't pause until you feel better. Life keeps moving. So if you let mood lead, you'll always be behind. You have to make a decision. I will no longer let my mood make my choices. When you feel lazy, act anyway. When you feel anxious, breathe and act anyway. When you feel tired, do something small but act anyway. When you feel sad, help someone else and act anyway. That's how you break the cycle. Because here's what most people don't see. The mood you're in right now is not permanent. It doesn't have to define your choices. But the actions you take while in that mood, those shape your future. You've probably lost entire days, weeks, even months because you let feelings dictate behavior. How many times did you delay work because you weren't in the mood? How many conversations did you avoid because you didn't feel like talking? How many habits did you skip because you didn't feel motivated? It adds up. But the truth is, mood doesn't matter. Decisions do. Discipline does. Strong people don't ignore their emotions. They acknowledge them. They sit with them. But they don't obey them. That's the difference. The next time you feel low, don't ask, what do I feel like doing? Ask, what would I do right now if my mood wasn't leading me? That one question can change everything. Because moods come and go. But the choices you make last. The habits you build last. The person you're becoming lasts. You don't need to feel happy to take action. You don't need to feel inspired to keep going. You don't need to feel confident to show up. You just need to act. And here's the paradox. Once you act in spite of your mood, the mood often shifts. You start to feel better. You start to feel stronger. You start to feel motivated, not because you waited for it, but because you created it. That's the power of discipline. Think about it. How many times did you feel unmotivated to work out? But once you started moving, your energy came back. How many times did you not want to make a call? But once you did, the weight lifted. How many times did you not feel like working? But once you started, you got into flow. Action shifts mood, not the other way around. But if you wait for your mood to change first, you'll be waiting forever. So stop letting your mood be the boss. Can speak, but it doesn't get to decide. Can whisper, but it doesn't get the final say. Your values decide. Your commitments decide. Your discipline decides. Because every time you choose discipline over mood, you build strength. Every time you stay consistent when it would be easier to quit, you separate yourself from the average. Every time you act with intention instead of emotion, you prove to yourself that you are in control. And that is freedom. Freedom isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about knowing you'll keep moving forward no matter how you feel. That's real power. That's real control. That's how strong lives are built. So here's your challenge. The next time your mood says stop, you say go. The next time your mood says quit, you say continue. The next time your mood says not today, you answer back with discipline. Because moods pass, but the actions you take will shape you forever. Stop letting something temporary decide something permanent. Your future is too valuable to hand over to a feeling. You can't think clearly if your mind is crowded. You can't focus if your head is full of noise. Every distraction, every draining conversation, every toxic habit, every unnecessary responsibility, it all adds up. And when it piles too high, your clarity disappears. Here's the part most people miss. Cloudy thinking doesn't just waste time. It destroys your decisions. A foggy mind leads to poor choices build poor habits, and poor habits build a poor life. But the problem is, most people don't even realize how cluttered their mind is. They've been living in the fog so long, it feels normal. That's why the first step to mental strength is simple but powerful. Say no to anything that clouds your thinking. Not maybe later. Not I'll try. No. Because every time you say yes to noise, you're saying no to your own peace. Distractions seem small in the moment. A quick scroll on your phone. Pointless argument. Time spent with people who drain you. But every small distraction is like adding smoke to your mental air. It doesn't seem like much until one day you can't breathe. You sit down to focus, and your head is already full. You try to work, and your thoughts are scattered. You try to relax, and you feel tension you can't explain. That's the price of saying yes to too much. You need to protect your mental space like it's sacred. Because it is. Your thoughts determine how you feel. How you feel shapes what you do, and what you do builds your life. If your thinking is cloudy, your life will reflect that confusion. You'll rush. You'll doubt. You'll lose direction. That's why clarity isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. If you want clarity, you have to make space for it. That means removing what doesn't belong. That means building boundaries. That means protecting your focus like it's worth more than gold, because it is. Say no to gossip even when everyone else is leaning in. Say no to events you know will leave you drained. Say no to habits that waste your energy but give you nothing back. Not because you're arrogant, but because your mind is too valuable to be filled with junk. Yes, people might not like your boundaries. That's fine. You're not responsible for their comfort. You're responsible for your clarity. And here's the truth. The people who really support your growth will respect your decision to protect your mind. The ones who don't, that tells you everything you need to know. There's a hidden cost to being available to everyone and everything. The cost is your mental energy. Every yes adds one more thing to manage, to think about, to recover from. Until eventually, your mind is so cluttered you can't even hear your own voice anymore. That's why people feel lost. Not because they don't know who they are, but because they've been too distracted to listen. Saying no isn't rejection. It's direction. It's the way you carve a path that's clean, quiet, and sharp. It's the way you get your ability to think straight back. And when your mind is clear, everything changes. You make faster decisions. You trust yourself more. You act with calm instead of chaos. Think about the times you felt your strongest mentally. Chances are, those were the moments your mind was quiet, when your path was clear, when your time was spent only on things that mattered. That wasn't luck. That was clarity. It's not just about removing distractions. It's about being intentional with what you let in. Every conversation, every piece of content, every environment you spend time in, it's all feeding your mind. It's either sharpening you or clouding you. And in today's world, there's more noise than ever, more pressure to stay connected, entertained, and informed. But just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right for your mind. Ask yourself, do I really need this right now? Most of the time, the answer is no. What you need is less, not more. Because your brain can't work properly when it's overloaded. Just like a room feels cramped when there's too much furniture, your mind feels heavy when there's too much noise. Clear it. Remove what doesn't serve you. Protect the space for thoughts that matter. Sometimes the things clouding your mind are habits you've carried for years. Staying up late, scrolling endlessly, checking your phone every few minutes, spending time with people who bring nothing but negativity. These things feel normal until you step back and see how much mental energy they steal. But here's the truth. You don't owe unlimited access to your energy. You don't owe every notification an instant response. You don't owe every person a piece of your attention. You have a right to silence. You have a right to focus. You have a right to protect your thinking. When your mind is clear, your strength multiplies. You're sharper. You're calmer. You're stronger. Not because life gets easier, but because your thinking stops working against you. And that clarity is what allows you to move with confidence, to build with focus, to lead your life instead of being dragged by noise. Start today. Pick one thing that's been clouding your mind and cut it out. Maybe it's a social media habit. Maybe it's a person who always brings drama. Maybe it's a routine that leaves you exhausted. Say no to it. Replace it with something cleaner, something that gives you space to breathe and think. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be real. Because every small step you take to protect your mind adds up. And over time, that clean mental space becomes your new standard. You'll notice the difference. You'll feel calmer, more focused, more powerful. Not because your life is perfect, but because your mind is no longer crowded. And when your mind is clear, your choices improve. And when your choices improve, your habits improve. And when your habits improve, your life changes. That's the chain reaction of clarity. So from now on, make it your mission not to add more, but to subtract what doesn't belong. Say no often. Say it without guilt. Say it for your focus. Say it for your peace. Say it for your future. Because a clear mind is a strong mind. And a strong mind builds a strong life. Most people spend their lives chasing what feels easy. They wake up and immediately look for comfort. They avoid pressure. They avoid resistance. They choose shortcuts. And over time, that becomes their identity. Someone who always picks the safe road. Someone who stops the moment things get hard. Someone who stays in the familiar even if it keeps them small. But here's the truth no one wants to hear. Growth doesn't live in ease. Growth lives in difficulty. And if you want to control your mind, if you want to build a life that actually matters, you have to stop asking, what feels easy? And start asking, what will make me stronger? Because every decision you make is doing one of two things. It's either building your strength or it's weakening it. When you avoid the tough conversation, you weaken your communication. When you skip the workout because you're tired, you weaken your discipline. When you hold back instead of speaking your truth, you weaken your confidence. When you give in to your urges, you weaken your self-respect. It's not the big moments that break you. It's the small choices you keep making every day. You don't grow by repeating what's comfortable. You grow by stepping into what tests you, what stretches you, what demands more than you're used to giving. That's where real transformation happens. The easy path always looks attractive at first. Feels safe. It saves time. Protects your ego. but it comes with a hidden cost. It steals your long-term strength. When you live for what's easy, you stay average. You stay hidden. You stay fragile. And when real challenges come, you collapse because you never built the muscle to carry them. That's why so many people crumble under pressure. They've spent years letting comfort make their choices. And comfort doesn't build resilience. People say they want confidence. They want power. They want respect. But those things aren't handed out. They're earned. And you earn them by doing what's hard, especially when no one is watching. You earn confidence by doing the workout when your body says no. You earn strength by making the call when fear says wait. You earn respect by finishing the project when excuses say quit. That's how you build mental toughness. Not by talking about it. Not by waiting to feel ready. But by doing the difficult thing again and again. Here's the challenge. Your brain is wired to keep you safe. It doesn't want discomfort. It doesn't want pain. It doesn't want risk. So every time you step towards something hard, your brain whispers, "Don't do it. It's too much. Stay here where it's easy." But if you let your brain lead, you'll stay small forever. You have to learn to lead your brain instead of being led by it. That means when your brain says, "Stay in bed," you get up. When it says, "Skip it today," you do it anyway. When it says, "This is too much," you remind yourself, "This is where I grow." That's how you take back control. Doing what strengthens you is not glamorous. Most of the time it's frustrating. Most of the time it feels uncomfortable. But that discomfort is where strength is built. And the reward? Peace, pride, self-respect. There's something deeply fulfilling about knowing you did the hard thing. You didn't run. You didn't hide. You didn't take the shortcut. You chose strength. And that decision builds a sense of inner stability that no applause can match. The strongest people you admire, the ones who inspire you, they didn't get there by chasing easy. They got there by choosing challenge again and again. By putting in work no one saw. By sacrificing comfort for growth. And that's why they can stand tall when life hits. They've trained for it. Your future is being decided right now by the choices you make today. And every day you have two options. Do what feels easy, or do what strengthens you. One leads to regret. The other leads to growth. Don't fool yourself into thinking ease is harmless. Every easy choice chips away at your belief, your drive, your momentum. But every hard choice, every decision to push through, even for 5 minutes, builds power. And over time, those small choices stack into a version of you that can't be shaken. You don't need to change everything overnight. Start small. Pick one thing each day that's hard but meaningful. One habit, one decision, one step, and stick with it. Not because it feels good, but because it builds something valuable inside you. And here's the shift. Once you start choosing strength over ease, it becomes your new standard. You stop settling for average effort. You stop living in excuses. You stop expecting comfort. You build a new identity. Someone who runs toward challenge. Someone who can be trusted to do the right thing, even when it's hard. Someone who grows stronger every time life tests them. That identity is worth more than any temporary comfort. The work you avoid today is the same work that builds the life you want. If you keep avoiding it, you keep avoiding your future. That's the price of ease. But when you face what strengthens you, you grow. You sharpen. You build grit. You create a foundation that doesn't break when life gets heavy, because you've already chosen the hard road. That's why the strongest people don't collapse when pressure comes. They've practiced. They've trained. They've built resilience on purpose. You can do the same. So here's the question you need to ask every day. Am I choosing what feels easy, or am I choosing what strengthens me? Because your life will be built on the answer. The easy path gives you quick relief, but long-term regret. The strong path gives you short-term discomfort, but long-term power. And the choice is always yours. Do the workout. Make the call. Speak the truth. Finish the task. Choose what strengthens you, not what feels easy. Because that's how you build a mind and a life that nothing can break. It's easy to say you want to change your life. It's easy to write down goals, make vision boards, talk about big dreams. But none of it matters if you keep avoiding the very things that would actually change you. So the real question you need to ask yourself is this: why do I keep avoiding hard things? Until you answer that honestly, nothing else will shift. Most people don't avoid hard things because they can't do them. They avoid them because they don't like how those things feel. Hard things bring pressure. Hard things bring fear. Hard things bring the possibility of failure, rejection, and discomfort. And instead of facing those feelings, most people run. They distract themselves with small, safe tasks. They stay busy with things that don't matter. They pretend they're being productive when really they're just hiding. That's why so many people live stuck. Not because they lack ability, but because they keep escaping the very challenges that would set them free. You might be avoiding because you failed before and you're afraid of repeating it. You might be avoiding because you tie your self-worth to performance, and failure feels like proof that you're not enough. You might be avoiding because you've gotten comfortable with safety, and stepping into challenge feels threatening, even if it's exactly what you need. But here's the truth. The things you keep avoiding are the exact things that would grow you. You say you want discipline, but you avoid the routines that would teach it. You say you want confidence, but you avoid the resistance that would build it. You say you want success, but you avoid the sacrifice that comes with it. That's not just procrastination. That's self-sabotage. And if you don't stop it now, you'll keep wasting years. The first step is honesty. No more sugarcoating. No more blaming circumstances. No more telling yo. Don't see the pattern. Because when you avoid hard things, you avoid growth. You avoid the exact pressure that builds character. You avoid the lessons only struggle can teach. And every time you turn away, you reinforce weakness. You tell your mind, comfort matters more than growth. Fear gets the final say. And the more you repeat that, the harder it gets to respect yourself. Here's what no one tells you. The pain of doing hard things is temporary. But the pain of avoiding them lingers. It shows up as guilt, as regret, as self-doubt, as the quiet voice in your head reminding you that you're capable of more. But you keep running. That's why you have to deal with it now. Because avoidance doesn't just waste time, it eats away at your self-belief. Every time you face a hard thing instead of avoiding it, you teach your mind a new truth. I am in charge, not fear. You prove to yourself that discomfort is survivable. That pressure won't break you. That failure isn't the end. It's just feedback. And the more you face the hard things, the more trust you build in yourself. That trust becomes confidence. That confidence becomes consistency. And consistency creates transformation. That's how real change begins. Ask yourself, how much longer am I going to wait? How many more days will I give to comfort, knowing it's stealing my future? How many opportunities have I already let pass because I wasn't willing to deal with the hard part? How much time will I keep throwing away before I finally confront the things I've been avoiding? You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another podcast. You don't need another book. You need action. You need to walk straight into the things you've been running from. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Start with one thing you've been avoiding and face it today. Make the call. Start the habit. Have the conversation. Do the work. Don't wait until it feels easy. It won't. It only feels easier after you've done it. And even then, it won't feel easy. It'll feel necessary. That's the shift. You stop seeing hard things as threats, and you start seeing them as the exact training ground you need. The people you look up to, the ones who seem unshakable, they didn't get there by chasing comfort. They got there by choosing challenge again and again. They said yes to the pain others avoided. They pushed through when it was boring, uncomfortable, or inconvenient. They didn't wait until it felt good. They didn't wait until it was safe. They did it anyway. And they're not superhuman. They're just consistent. They're just willing to do what others won't. You can do the same. It starts with one honest moment. One decision to stop lying to yourself. You're not avoiding because it's impossible. You're avoiding because it's uncomfortable. And that discomfort is the doorway to growth. So face it. Let it challenge you. Let it humble you. Let it break the old version of you that's been hiding. Because on the other side of the pressure is the person you've been trying to become. Every time you face the hard thing, you build another layer of strength. And the more you repeat it, the less fear controls your decisions. You stop asking, "What's easiest?" and start asking, "What makes me stronger?" And that shift changes everything. So here's the question. Why do you keep avoiding hard things? Answer it honestly. Then make the decision that avoidance ends now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Because the longer you wait, the more regret grows. But the moment you face it, everything starts to change. Stop running. Start confronting. And watch how quickly your life begins to move forward. There will be moments in life when your mind feels like it's running faster than you can handle. One thought leads to another, then another, and before you know it, you're caught in a storm of pressure, worry, and noise. You replay conversations. You predict outcomes that haven't even happened. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You feel like you have to fix everything at once. And the harder you try to think your way out, the louder your thoughts get. That's when you need to stop. Not later. Not tomorrow. Right now. Because if you don't slow your mind, it will drag you into places that don't even exist. It'll make you feel pain that hasn't happened. It'll drain your energy solving problems that aren't even real. And if you let it, that mental chaos will run your life. When your mind races, your body follows. Your chest feels tight. Your jaw clenches. Your breathing gets shallow. Your shoulders tense. Your focus disappears. You're here physically, but mentally you're miles away. This is how stress grows. Not from the situation itself, but from the way your mind reacts to it. The racing thoughts feel real, but most of them are just guesses, fears, and assumptions carried too far. You don't need to solve everything in your head. What you need is space. The key is to catch it early. Notice when your thoughts are speeding up. Don't ignore it. Don't fight it. Don't try to outthink it. That only makes it worse. Instead, pause. Breathe deeply. Inhale slow, exhale slower. Not to escape, but to re-enter the moment with control. This small act breaks the momentum. It reminds you, you're not your thoughts. You're the one leading them. You're not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You're not broken because your mind races. You're human. The problem isn't that your thoughts move fast. The problem is when you let them run wild without stepping in. Sometimes your mind races because you've been carrying too much without giving yourself a break. You've been busy, distracted, overcommit. You never gave yourself time to reflect, so your brain starts spinning to catch up. Other times, your mind races because you've been avoiding something. You buried a decision. You ignored a truth. You suppressed an emotion. And now it comes back louder. That racing is your mind's way of saying, "Deal with this." But instead of facing it, most people drown it in noise, scrolling, rushing, filling their schedule so they don't have to listen. You can't outrun your own thoughts. At some point, you have to slow down and face them. To slow your mind, you need stillness. And stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means being intentional. It means walking without your phone. It means writing down your thoughts instead of letting them swirl. It means sitting in silence and asking yourself, what am I really feeling? At first, it feels uncomfortable. But stillness isn't weakness. It's strength. Because when you slow down, you take back control. You separate truth from assumption. You stop reacting and start responding. You can't control every thought, but you can control which thoughts you focus on. When your mind throws out 100 worries, you don't need to entertain them all. Notice them, acknowledge them, but let most of them pass. Not everything that enters your head deserves attention. That's the discipline. Choosing what gets to stay. You can train this daily. Start with your mornings. Don't wake up and flood your mind with notifications. Give yourself a calm start. Stretch. Breathe. Choose one focus for the day. Keep it simple. Through the day, watch your body. Your body will tell you when your mind is racing. Jaw tight? Shoulders tense? Hands restless? That's your cue. Pause. Step back. Take a slow breath. Takes less than a minute to reset. But that minute can save you hours of wasted energy. Another reason your mind races? You keep feeding it. You multitask constantly. You force decisions when you're exhausted. You never give yourself permission to step back. And the result is mental chaos. You don't need to fix everything right now. You don't owe instant replies. You don't need to figure out your entire future today. Slow your pace. Speak slower. Walk slower. Do one thing at a time. At first it feels unnatural, especially if you've built your identity around being busy. But real productivity doesn't come from speed. It comes from presence. And presence only exists when you slow your mind. Sometimes your racing thoughts are just signals that you're lying to yourself. You're pretending something is fine when it's not. You're hiding behind distractions instead of admitting what's wrong. Slow down. Ask, what am I really afraid of right now? What am I avoiding? That honesty hurts at first, but it brings calm. Because once you admit the truth, your mind doesn't have to keep spinning. Slowing your mind isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice. You'll need to return to it again and again. Every time life speeds up, every time pressure builds, every time your head feels heavy, you come back to pause, to breath, to presence. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you won't panic when thoughts start racing. You'll notice it, step back, breathe, and take control. That's real power. Not the ability to silence your mind completely, but the ability to slow it when you need to. There is strength in silence. There is control in calm. There is wisdom in waiting before reacting. And once you taste the peace that comes from slowing your mind, you'll never want to give your power away to racing thoughts again. You'll stop chasing every anxious idea. You'll stop overthinking every detail. You'll start living with clarity, intention, and focus. You don't need to escape your mind. You just need to lead it. And leadership begins with slowing down one slow breath at a time. Some thoughts build you up. They give you energy, focus, and strength. Other thoughts tear you down. They drain your motivation until you feel stuck, heavy, and powerless. If you don't learn how to control them, the draining thoughts will take over your life. And the scary part? They don't always show up loud. They don't always come with warning. They slip in quietly. They disguise themselves as logic, as truth, as the way things are. And if you let them stay, they'll wear you down day after day until you've got nothing left to give. That's why you need this skill. The ability to let go of thoughts that drain your drive. Not once. Not sometimes. Every time they show up. First, you need to know what they sound like. They sound like, it's too late for you. No matter what you do, it won't be enough. You're falling behind. Why even try? These thoughts don't help you grow. They don't keep you grounded. They paralyze you. They hold you down. And here's the truth. They're not facts. They're habits. You've repeated them so many times they feel real. But they're just patterns your mind has been running on autopilot. Think about your mind the way you think about your home. If something doesn't belong there, you remove it. You don't argue with it. You don't make space for it. You don't let it trash your living room. You clear it out. Your mental space works the same way. If a thought is draining you, if it's leaving you stuck, tired, anxious, or ashamed, it doesn't belong. Don't entertain it. Don't decorate around it. Don't give it permanent space. Let it go. Now listen carefully. Letting go doesn't mean pretending you never feel discouraged. It doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means being honest enough to ask, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, it doesn't deserve your time. Letting go means replacing it with something stronger. Not something fake, not blind optimism, something better. Something true. Something that fuels you instead of draining you. Most people don't even realize how much energy they lose to these thoughts. Every time you dwell on what went wrong, you lose energy for what could go right. Every time you replay the past, you waste the present. Every time you repeat the story of why you can't, you blind yourself to the ways you could. It's like carrying a backpack full of bricks and wondering why you feel heavy. You don't need that weight. It's not helping you. It's slowing you down. Here's the most freeing truth you'll ever hear. Not every thought you think is true. Just because it feels heavy doesn't mean it's accurate. Just because it feels real doesn't mean it deserves your belief. Maybe you think, I'm behind in life. Behind compared to who? Who made that rule? Maybe you think, I'm not doing enough. But have you looked at how far you've already come? These thoughts often go unchallenged. And because you never question them, they keep running your life. The moment you pause and ask, is this actually true? You take back control. Another type of draining thought? Regret. The mistakes you made. The people who hurt you. The things you wish you could redo. But here's the truth. The past is already written. Thinking about it over and over won't fix it. It won't rewrite it. It only keeps you stuck in it. You're trying to move forward while dragging the weight of yesterday on your back. It's time to set it down. You can acknowledge the past without living in it. You can learn from it without letting it define you. Not all draining thoughts come from you. Some come from the people around you. Some come from the content you consume. If you surround yourself with negativity, constant complaints, constant criticism, constant fear, you'll start thinking the same way. That's why you have to be intentional about who and what you let into your mental space. Every conversation is feeding you something. Every piece of content you consume is programming your mind. Ask yourself, is this fueling me or draining me? And if it's draining, cut it. Letting go doesn't mean emptying your mind completely. It means replacing the wrong thought with the right one. If your mind says, I can't, replace it with, I'll figure it out one step at a time. If your mind says, I'm too far behind, replace it with, I'm building at my own pace. If your mind says, I'll never change, replace it with, I'm changing right now. That's not fake positivity. That's strength. That's control. And the more you do it, the stronger you become. Letting go isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. Some draining thoughts will keep trying to come back. That's normal. But your job isn't to stop them from showing up. It's to stop them from staying. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to panic. Just notice them. Question them. Replace them. Do it enough times, and your mind learns. These old thoughts don't run the show anymore. When you clear the draining thoughts, you create space for energy to rise again. You feel lighter. You think sharper. You act stronger. Because now your drive isn't buried under weight. It's free. And once it's free, you don't need as much outside motivation. You don't need constant hype. You don't need someone else to push you. You have your own fuel again. And that's what keeps you steady when things get tough. That's what pulls you forward when life feels heavy. You don't have to carry every thought your mind throws at you. You don't have to keep repeating the same lies. You don't have to waste energy on stories that drain you. You are the thinker. You are the gatekeeper. You are the one who decides what stays and what goes. So here's your choice. Keep entertaining thoughts that drain you, or clear them out and make room for the ones that drive you. Because your drive is still there. Your fire is still there. It's just been buried under too much weight. Remove what doesn't belong. Release the old stories. Clear the space. And you'll find that your strength was never gone. It was waiting for you to let go of what was blocking it. Before you hit the gym, before you launch the business, before you take the risk, before you step into the room, the battle already started. And if you lose it in your head, you won't even show up to fight in real life. That's why some people never start. That's why some people quit halfway. That's why some people live stuck even when they have talent, opportunity, and time. They don't lose because the challenge is impossible. They lose because their thoughts defeat them before they even try. But here's the truth. If you win in your head first, the outside world doesn't stand a chance. Your biggest enemy isn't the competition. It isn't the economy. It isn't your circumstances. It's the voice in your head that says, you can't. You're not ready. You'll fail. What will they think? That voice doesn't care about your future. It only cares about keeping you safe, comfortable, and average. And if you listen, you'll never break out. The real enemy isn't outside. It's inside. The question is, who are you going to believe? Every thought you repeat becomes a direction. Tell yourself, I can't enough times, and your body will follow. Tell yourself, I'm too tired, and you'll stop before you even start. But the opposite is true too. Tell yourself, I'll figure it out, and your brain looks for solutions. Tell yourself, I'm built for this, and your body pushes harder. Tell yourself, I refuse to quit, and you keep moving. Your thoughts are steering your life whether you notice it or not. That's why you have to take control of them before they take control of you. Every day, your mind is rehearsing something. It's either rehearsing failure, imagining all the ways it can go wrong, or it's rehearsing strength, imagining yourself taking action, staying consistent, showing up. The more you rehearse failure, the more natural quitting feels. The more you rehearse strength, the more natural winning feels. That's why you need to practice seeing yourself do the hard thing before you even touch it. That's why athletes visualize before they compete. That's why leaders prepare their mindset before they step into the moment. Because if you win in your imagination, it's easier to win in reality. Winning in your head isn't about fake positivity. It's about training your mind to lean on truth, discipline, and commitment instead of fear, doubt, and excuses. It's about replacing "I'm not ready" with "I'll learn while doing." "This is too hard" with "I get stronger under pressure." "I want to quit" with "This is exactly why I must continue." Every time you do this, you're building a habit of victory. And that habit compounds. One small mental win today makes tomorrow easier. 10 in a row makes you unstoppable. There will be moments when your head feels heavy, when your emotions scream louder than your logic. Pressure will test every belief you've built. That's when you need to slow down and remind yourself, "I've been here before. I know how to win this battle. My thoughts don't control me. I control them." Say it enough, believe it enough, and it becomes your default. The world can throw chaos at you, but inside you're steady. The world can tell you no, but inside you keep saying yes. The world can doubt you, but inside you've already decided, "I win." When you win in your head first, everything outside changes. Obstacles look smaller. Opportunities look clearer. Fear looks weaker. Because you're no longer fighting with yourself, you're fighting for yourself. And that shift is what separates the people who dream from the people who do. So here's your challenge. Stop waiting for confidence to magically appear. Stop waiting for motivation to show up. Stop waiting for someone else to believe in you. Decide now. Win in your head first. When the voice of doubt shows up, answer back.